Okay, would you like another story, Andy and Teresa? How about the story about the little goat? His name is, what is it? RazMaTaz. Yeah, that's a funny name, isn't it, for a goat? Let's see what it has to say. Let's turn the page until, you have to turn a couple pages until you get to the page with the trees and the green grass and all the pretty flowers. Oh, look at the flowers. I think some of those are poppies. That's like what you have in California. Yeah, and there's some blue flowers and some little tiny red ones that are down close to the grass. Well, let's see what it says over there. Beyond tomorrow, just this side of today, stands a magnificent range of mountains called the highest of the high. The mountains are so high that sunrise and sunset seem to collide as the wind sweeps the clouds way up to the sky. Ooh, that sounds like they're really high mountains, doesn't it? Below the peaks of the highest of high are the misty mountain meadows, where the alpine flowers bend and sigh. Oh, that sounds like a pretty place, doesn't it? Let's turn the page. Oh, looky there. There's more flowers. And what's that down in by the flowers? Are those bunny rabbits? They sure are. Look at those bunny rabbits. And look at the goats eating. Oh, looky, that must be the daddy goat, huh? Look at the horns. See a billy goat? Yeah, he's a billy goat. And what's up in the air? Think that might be an eagle or a hawk? Oh, could be. That high in the mountains, I bet it maybe is an eagle. Okay, let's see what it says. In these lush green meadows of the highest of high live many wondrous creatures. There are eagles who catch each dip in the wind and seem to soar forever without flapping a wing. See, I told you they were eagles. There are boulder bunnies who hop about, twitching their nose in the air. Aha! See, there's those bunnies. And most wondrous of all are the goats of the highest of high. The goats are short and fat, with long gray and white fur that ruffles in the wind. They don't do much. Rather, they are content to gaze about the meadows, munching on a bite of grass or two, or occasionally sniffing a flower. My goodness. Let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, there's a little goat. Who do you think that is? I bet that goat is RazMaTaz. Can you say that? That's a funny name. RazMaTaz. Look at the pretty flowers. He's a cute little goat, isn't he? Well, it says all of the goats, that is except one very special goat named RazMaTaz. Raz would spend all day racing about the meadows. He would bounce from rock to rock. Then he would run from one end of the meadow to the other just to see if the other goats would notice him. But the other goats would only look up as he zipped by them and then continue their gentle munching of the green grass. Pooh! Those old fuddy-duddies wouldn't notice their own reflection in the water, Raz said as he raced off to the end of the meadow. Okay, turn the page. Wow, what's happening? That old Raz, he looks like he's having a good time. One day, as he was running about, he noticed the other goats watching the eagles soar on the wind. Aha! He said, maybe if I flew like an eagle, they would notice me. So he climbed on top of a large boulder, jumped high in the air, and madly flapped his legs. He stayed in the air only for a moment, and like a bag full of bricks, he fell to the ground with a thud. The other goats looked up for a moment and went back to their grazing. Raz thought as he struggled to his feet. Maybe being an eagle isn't all it's cut out to be. And he wandered about the meadow, thinking and thinking of something else that would make the other goats notice him. Let's turn the page and see what he does. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen there. That doesn't look too good. Maybe if I just bumped one of them, he'd notice me, he thought. So he bounced around once or twice, reared on his hind legs, and rammed an old goat with his head. Oh my goodness. The old goat stood there looking at RazMaTaz in total amazement. Then with a woof, he turned and he butted Raz right on the rump, sending him flying. The other goats looked up, smiled their little goat smiles, and continued eating grass. Oh, look at that. He got bumped right in the rump, didn't he? Okay, let's turn the page. Now what's happening? Looky there. It looks like the bunny rabbits are laughing at it. Do you think they are? Sure looks like it, doesn't it? Let's see what it says. Raz again picked himself up and hobbled about, his feelings more hurt than anything else. Golly, he sobbed. The only thing I want is to be noticed. Instead, I just get pushed around. With a large tear trickling from his eye, he started to walk from the meadow. Oh, poor RazMaTaz. He hadn't gone far when he heard someone giggling. Raz turned quickly toward the sound, but nothing was there except a large rock. Thinking it was only his imagination, he started to leave. Again he heard the laughter, and spinning quickly around, he saw a whole group of boulder bunnies rolling around and laughing. What's so funny? He said gruffly. You looked so silly when you got butted that we just had to laugh, said the rabbits. And with that they again burst into gales of laughter. I guess they thought it was funny when the billy goat butted RazMaTaz, didn't they? They're sure laughing about it. Okay, let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, RazMaTaz looks sad, doesn't he? Now let's see what it says. I'll show you what's silly about being butted, he said as he slowly backed up. He then lowered his head and he charged the bunnies, who scampered nimbly out of the way. He looked around, saw more bunnies, and charged again. As before, the boulder bunnies easily hopped out of the way. Why, you long-eared balls of fur, Raz shouted as he charged at a bunch of bunnies standing in front of a rock. Fortunately, the bunnies again bounded out of his way. Unfortunately, Raz, who had his head down and couldn't see where he was going, ran straight into the rock. Oh my goodness, that would hurt, wouldn't it? With his eyes all dazed and twisted, he sat down with a thump, and the rabbits skipped away, chanting, silly goat, nanner, nanner, nanner. My goodness, what do you think's happening to poor old Raz? Let's turn the page. For a while, RazMaTaz just sat there feeling sorry for himself. Stupid goats, stupid bunnies, I'll show them all. I'll run away. With a choked-back song, he ran to the foothills of the mountains of the highest of high. Tears filled his eyes as he scampered along the narrow trail that led up the mountain, higher and higher. See, there he is, walking up the trail. He's going to run away. Well, let's turn the page and see what happened. Oh, my goodness, doesn't look so good, does it? Looks like he might be in trouble. Let's see what it says. He was so mad because no one had paid attention to him, that he didn't pay attention to the angry dark clouds that were gathering in the sky. Oh my, dark clouds mean something, don't they? Over rocks and under rocks, Raz climbed higher and higher and higher. He would have kept climbing to the very top had it not been for a bright bolt of lightning and a loud clap of thunder. It happened so quickly Then he jumped off the edge of the path and he landed right on top of a craggy boulder. He grabbed onto the rocks as the thunder and the lightning crashed around him. Ooh, my, sometimes thunder and lightning can make loud noise, can't they? Okay, let's turn the page. My goodness, looks like he's still in trouble, doesn't it? Poor Raz. He looked about and realized that now there was no way to get down. The sky was snapping around him, and far below he could see the other goats grazing in the meadow. Boy, he said through chattering teeth, they never paid attention to me before, but I really wish they would pay attention to me now. He took a really deep breath and he shouted, "Help! Help!" The other goats looked up and smiled their little goat smiles and went right on munching the lush green grass. "Oh no, I've teased them so much before that they won't notice me now when I need them." And he began to cry. Soft little tears. Uh-oh, sounds like Raz has really done it, doesn't it? Let's turn the page and see what happens. Looks like everybody's looking at something, doesn't it? Let's see what it says. Well, he might have been hanging on that rock until this very day if the boulder bunnies hadn't realized that something was wrong. "You know," said one of the bunnies, "I think he's really in trouble." They all looked up, and because the bunnies were looking up, the goats all looked up and saw poor Raz high on the peak of the mountains of the highest of high. "That little goat is in trouble, and we've got to help," said the bunnies. They began hopping into the foothills with the goats right behind them. They scampered up the mountain until they were on the ledge of rock above RazMaTaz. "But how are we going to get him off the rock?" asked one of the rabbits. The goats thought for a bit. Just as another lightning bolt flashed, they came up with an idea. They told it to the bunnies, and since there was no other plan, they all agreed. Sounds like they're going to try to do something to get RazMaTaz down from there, doesn't it? Well, let's turn the page and see what happens. Oh, my goodness, would you look at those rabbits? It looks like they're holding on to each other and going to make a rope or something. Well, let's see what it says. One of the goats gently picked up one of the bunnies by the tail and slowly lowered him over the edge. The next bunny climbed up on the goat's back, climbed over his head and down to the first bunny. Very carefully he grabbed his ears and then hung down even farther over the edge. One by one, all of the bunnies hung down on the bunny chain until the final bunny was right in front of RazMaTaz. He was so shocked at seeing a bunny hanging there in midair, he didn't know what to do. "Put your arms around my waist," said the bunny, "and we'll pull you to safety." Well, RazMaTaz, he did just as he was told. And then with all the goats pulling and tugging, they pulled him to safety. With Raz safely in the lead, all the bunnies and all the goats slowly walked down the trail from the highest of high. Well, let's turn the page quick and see what happened. Well, there he is, safely back in his nice green meadow, isn't he? Yeah, there's the flowers, the pretty grass, and the trees. And it says, from that day forward, RazMaTaz contentedly gazed in the misty meadows of the mountains of the highest of high. And whenever he felt that nobody was paying any attention to him, he would lower his head, stomp his feet, and gently bump a boulder. That means a big rock. A boulder is a big rock. That way he got rid of his being mad, didn't he? Okay, let's turn the page. Oh, there he is. So if you're showing off and nobody pays attention, just remember RazMaTaz and his scary revelation. He's a cute little goat, isn't he? Look at those big eyes and his pink ears and pink nose. Yeah, that was a cute story too. Did you like it? Good. Okay, shut the book, and that's all of that story. Bye-bye.